Okay, when you get in the vehicle, obviously same as a car, kick in ignition, turn it to the on point. Basically this vehicle has an onboard weighing system which is located just in the dash here. What it does when you start it up, it does a self-test, so it measures the rear axle and the front axle, make sure everything's okay. Then on the screen it will come up with what percentage of weight you have on board, and that obviously shows you what you have left. If the system beeps, basically that says you're overweight, it'll inform you you're overweight on the screen, and then basically to clear that alarm you press mute. But once you've done that, you know you're overweight, you need to unload the vehicle and make sure you're compliant. Inside this vehicle we have 2 interior lights located in the rear of the vehicle. Basically these are operated by a master switch on the dash. Click the switch, red light comes on. This now means that power is now activated to the rear of the vehicle, so you can turn them on and off from the rear. If you ever leave the lights on and get into the back of the cab, basically you can then turn them off from the master switch on the dash and turn them off. Interior lights located inside the vehicle. Light switch for these are located on the bulkhead. Flick the switch down, turn them on, flick the switch up, turn them off. Okay, now we'll run through the 12-volt socket. There's one located on the bulkhead and there is one located on the rear section of the vehicle. Take your 12-volt mag light, undo the cable, remove the cap, plug in and deploy. Take it down, remove, unplug, and remember to reseal the plastic cap. On all the vehicles you have a boiling hot water dispenser. Please be careful, this is boiling hot water. This is turned on by the switch located here. Red light will come on, informs you that the system is heating. When the system is ready, the light underneath will turn green, located here. If the system needs water added to it, a yellow light will appear on the top, saying add water. If you have a specialist vehicle, you turn on the pump. The switch for this is located on the bulkhead. If you're in a standard vehicle, you refill the system by undoing the cap and filling with water. Water is dispensed by pushing down on the red button. On all the vehicles, specialist and standard, we have a 240 volt inverter system fitted. On the specialist vehicles this is a 1500 watt inverter. On the standard vehicles this is a 700 watt inverter. These are primarily used for charging batteries, phones, cordless chargers. They're located on the top right hand corner of the bulkhead. Power socket is located on the top left hand side of the inverter. Switch to the on position, the inverter goes through a self-test, then signifies that it's ready to go with 2 green lights. When working outside the vehicle, it's always advisable to deploy the earth rod located next to the near side low door. Place this into the earth. Alternatively, if there is no earth, please place it underneath the rear tyre of the vehicle. This is in case there is a problem with any electrical items, it earths out the vehicle as opposed to yourselves. The 240 volt plug sockets located on the side of the vehicle. Plug your plug in, switch on. When deploying the ramp, it's always good to look at the instructions, which are located on the rear door. First thing we do is we undo the clamp, then we release the catch. To put the ramp away, lift up from the handle, place into the rear of the vehicle, automatically locks on the top pin, then we readdress the clamp and the ramp is secure.
This is the Karcher HD830BS. It's a petrol cold water pressure washer. Operated on the front here for controls. We've got the high pressure hose going in at the side, and this yellow hose at the back is the cold water, is the mains water supply, on this occasion being fed via the van. It's simple sort of hose lock connections, fed into a pump then using the motor then feeds it around to the high pressure hose, and then you've got the lance on the side that's actually firing the water. So operation wise, there's no key switch at starts. It's just literally lift the rev lever up, and there's a choke lever here on first starts, or in cold weather you pull the choke out initially, and then there's a flywheel here to pull starts. When the engine turns over, you push the choke back in, don't leave it out. You'll be burning unnecessary fuel and you'll get some white smoke, and will ultimately flood the engine. So once it's warmed up, let it run over for a couple of minutes, and then test the water with the trigger. You should get good water pressure. If you haven't got good water pressure, check the water connection. There needs to be a good water flow going into the pump for it to work. If there could be an airlock with this hose, if so, if I show you on the nozzle here, this is a triple phase nozzle. You can unscrew this and just let the water run through if there is an airlock until there's a constant water pressure. Screw this back on, and in terms of operation, trigger fed, you've got fan operation there, guided by this little lip here. So fan, if you wanted to run through detergent, chemical gives it away, and then pencil jet. To run through chemical, you have on the back of here, clip it. You put this in your detergent, have that on chemical, and then it will reduce the pressure slightly, and then suck up the detergent and splice it with the water. Once you're not using this goes back on here, but just make sure you adjust the setting on here back to either fan or pencil, otherwise you won't get good water pressure from normal cleaning. There is a locking feature on here as well, so with this push forwards you can't pull the trigger, and then on you can fire away. That's basically it. It's a 4-stroke petrol engine, no mixing of oil and fuel. And in regards to maintenance, there's an oil knurling on the side here. If I unscrew this just to show you, you get a rag and wipe this off, stick this back in here, and then measure where the oil is. It needs to be right to the end of the knurling. If it's going down, then top up with oil. The oil is 1540 that you put in, and it's the same for the pump. So weekly check the oil, obviously daily check for fuel. If you're using it on a more regular basis, maybe daily operation, you can check the oil more regularly. That's basically it. Operation, so I'll just quickly fire it up for you. And push the lever down obviously to stop it. So obviously wait for the engine revs to drop before moving or disconnecting anything, and make sure this is depressurized, there's no water coming out, there's no pressure in the system before you undo any of the hoses. Obviously once you've been using this for probably up to half an hour with that tank anyway, make sure you don't touch this. This is going to be hot, so you will scald yourself if you touch these metal bits. This should be okay, but there are warnings on here to not to touch these parts of the engine. This is the Karcher KM7030 walk behind sweeper. It's battery operated. Battery connections are located on the back. There's a plug in there that you can connect it up to. Controls are located here. 2 settings. One is for the brushes to turn around, like so. And the second setting is for a small vacuum as well. The vacuum control is hidden under here. This is the motor for the vacuum, and the dust will collect in this filter. Agitating this, pulling this backwards and forwards, will clean this filter, and the dust will drop back into the hopper, which is located here. As you can see, this is the main broom inside. So this, governed by the motor, this will spin round. You can control the brush as the brush wears down. Moving it more positive will push the brush lower to the ground. If you have it too low, it won't turn because it's too low. So it's having it so it's just touching the ground, and it will flick dirt into the path of the main broom, which will then flick it into the hopper. Also on here you've got a control for the main broom as well. So you lift this up, have that on the plus sign from a new brush, and as you wear down, move the brush down so it lowers the brush down to the ground. In terms of operation, collects cigarette butts, gravel, glass, all sorts of small items. So when you finish sweeping, there's two handles on the sides. You can undo these, pull the handle back and then over, lock them into position, and then you can store it neatly away in your van. So the battery supply is located in here. There's also a charging plug in here as well. And screw this, unclip this. This is the plug, 240 volt mains. You plug that in to charge, and then it stows away nicely. There we go, it clips in place for use. So when you've been using the sweeper, when it's time to charge it, this will be signified by the battery light flashing from green to amber to red. Only charge it when the battery is red. Amber means you've got about 20 minutes use left, and when it's red, then it's time to charge. That will enhance the life of the battery. If the exclamation mark flashes up yellow, then it's time to book a service call. Right, this is the PC50 Street Vac. It's a Honda 4-stroke petrol engine providing the suction into a 50-litre bin and being sucked up through this wander hose, and the finer dust elements that are being sucked up are collected in this dust bag on the sides. There is a zip on here that you can then empty the dust as and when it gets full, and there's two clasps either side to then take the lid off to empty the bin. If I spin this round, you've got so depending on the height of the operator, there's a clasp on here that you can then vary the height of the handle. So this can move up and down and be put at different positions depending on the user. And then this pin will then just go back inside like so and clip into place. In regards to operation, it's flywheel starts. This is the choke on this side. From cold start you'd have this forwards, or in cold weather. Pull the flywheel up, not out, because this will fray the string and eventually snap. So you want to pull up like so, and then move this choke back in and pull again, and that will get the fuel to pump round and get the engine to turn over. Never leave the choke on full all the time, because you're just burning unnecessary fuel, and loads of smoke will appear out the exhaust on this side. So this is the fan housing and the exhaust on this side, so be careful not to put your hand here because this will get hot when in use. And to turn the machine off, you can just flick the switch at the top here. There's an arrow pointing this way to stop, so you push it that way to stop it. And the same on this trigger here, there's a stop sign, so you push it this way to switch the machine off, and then flick it back upwards so you can then turn it on. Fuel goes in here, as you can see. There's a fuel cap here, 4-stroke unleaded fuel goes in there. And when it comes to emptying the bin, you take the nozzle off the pole. You do that so that when you lift the lid off, it doesn't drag the trolley over when you come to put the lid down. So you leave the hose loose, pull these clamps out, and then the unit will then lift off. and then you put your foot on the frame to hold it in position, and then you can empty the bin. It sits in there. You can put a bin liner in here if you wish, depending on what sort of rubbish you're collecting. And on the lid itself, it's a metal frame system, so just periodically hosing that with water just to ensure it's not clogging up, but there's no filters or anything to change, so in theory you can suck up wet litter as well as dry. It doesn't make a difference. So that goes back on the top like so. And that's your PC street vac. Okay, this is the Honda HHB25 leaf blower. It's the same engine that's on the PC50 street vac that I just commented on. In terms of operation, the same on and off switch at the top, pull start at the bottom here for the flywheel. Remember again to pull the flywheel up, not forward, so you're chafing the string. And a choke here for cold start. This is the petrol cap here, obviously the same small tank for fuel. Again, 4-stroke unleaded. And in regards to maintenance check, there's an oil dipstick on the side here. If I turn it around the other way, there is a tortoise and hare. Tortoise meaning low revs, so low airflow. And moving this to the high, the trigger lever goes up there. On the high, you get more airflow, so you blow more leaves away. So moving that back down, and that's basically it. Okay, this is the poo vac for sucking up dog mess and maybe cat mess as well. Essentially, it's sucked up into these black bags, bin liner type bags, specifically designed for this machine. It's trigger operated on the front. If you put your foot on the plates at the bottom, it will then lift up, and the bag goes through here. Put it back over the edge. Like so. This lifts up and clasps it into place, and then put your hand on the safety catch here. When you're finished, put your foot on the bottom, lift up, and then you can pull away the bag and bag up your waste. Okay, this is the Karcher BR30/4 scrubber dryer. It's designed for sucking up dirty water and scrubbing floors on a hard surface floor. It's not designed for carpets. It's designed to sort of take away using a mop and bucket and smearing dirty water across the floor and trying to clean it up. This will actually scrub the floor, lay down water, wash, and then you vacuum and leave it virtually bone dry. So the operation of this, there's 3 parts to this machine. You've got the power on and off switch here, instigating water here and brushes to roll, and at the bottom, the yellow lever at the bottom here is the vacuum. There's 2 tanks on this machine in regards to clean water tank and dirty water tank. This is the clean water tank. You've got a cap on here. You'd obviously put some water in there and detergent. In regards to detergent, there's a nominated chemical you would use in this from Karcher called the RM69. There's a water gauge on the side, but ultimately you'll have this in either a 2.5 litre or 10 litre bottle of detergent, and the rule of thumb is to use a cap full of detergent from the bottle, not this cap. Tip that into here. If it's a really dirty floor, maybe two capfuls, and then fill up the rest of the tank with water up to the top. So keep it level when you obviously stick it under a tap or use the water tanks from your vehicle. and then that fits back onto here like so. Have it at an angle so it will slip back into place and clip into place like so. And this handle here is for the dirty water tank. So you lever this down and pull this away, and then the whole thing will come out. The bit on the top is the lid for the dirty water tank, and there's a catch on the back. So you unclip this. You've got a float on there for when the water reaches the top, it turns the machine off. It doesn't keep sucking up dirty water. And then you can empty this down the drain. So I'll just put this back on the top like so. And that clips back into play like that. So the process here is a bit like a vacuum cleaner, an upright vacuum cleaner. There's a clip on the side of the machine here, so you can release it and make it go forwards and backwards. The switch to operate it is here, and the water is here. Okay, so this is the bottom of the scrubber dryer that we were just cleaning with. You can see there's two squeegees on here, the purple lines either side, so it will collect water going forwards and backwards. And this red brush is removable. You push the button on the side and that releases this medium thickness brush. You can get alternatives to this in terms of a stiffer or softer brush, and there's a microfiber for more for polishing. Obviously in your corridors it's probably not something you're too concerned with, but ultimately a deep clean you can do with this or a stiffer brush. So that just slots back into here. Periodically just make sure internally this is clear of, like if it starts collecting dog hair of another such mesh that hasn't been sort of vacuumed away. Principle to bear in mind as well is to sort of sweep the floor of any debris before you scrub or dry and wash the floor. That's the principle there, otherwise you'll clog up the machine. That's basically it.